What's going on, lads and lasses? Well, welcome back to 100% Mags. So, of course, this Sunday sees Newcastle take on Liverpool down at Wembley, and this is going to be a very, very interesting game, as it is, of course, the League Cup final. Second time in 3 seasons now we have been in the League Cup final. Last season we should have been here as well, but that Chelsea game we all remember cost us the chance to be there. Of course, Chelsea eventually going on to lose to, of course, none other than Liverpool. So we are now getting to see what that final would have been like, of course, last season. And hopefully this time around, unlike the game against Man United, Newcastle can be coming away from Wembley with the trophy in hand. But to do that, we are going to have to go in there with the right mentality. We're going to have to go in there with the right mindset and the right tactics, the right lineup. Everything's got to be perfect on the day for to get that trophy, because we've been trying for so long now to get this trophy. The last time we won a domestic trophy was the 54-55 FA Cup, of course, and the last trophy we ever won was the 1969 Intercities Fairs Cup, of course, so it has been a very long time since Newcastle last won a trophy. So we just need to get that off our backs, and once we do, the floodgates will open. We know this. We know that once we get that first trophy, then the floodgates will open and we will be able to start reaping trophies right, left and centre, like we've seen other teams do as well. You know, we've seen Chelsea do it when they got their takeover. We've seen Man City do it when they got their takeover. It's our turn now. It's Newcastle United's turn to be at the tippy top of world football. And that first trophy is the only thing that's standing in the way. So if we can win this League Cup on Sunday against Liverpool down at Wembley, 32,000 Newcastle fans cheering on, let's do it. Let's get it. Let's go out there, put in the best performance possible, leave it all out there on the field and come away with that trophy. And to do that, all we need to do is close out Mo Salah out the game, keep him quiet, and we'll get that attack going against Liverpool. Look at the games this season that we've played against them already. At St James's Park, we absolutely dominated them. They were very lucky to escape St James's Park with the point that they did, and that was only because the referee blew the whistle early. And then you look at the game down at Anfield. If Isak had been available to play in that game instead of it being Callum Wilson, the chances that we got in that game, you know, Isak would have put them away. Thankfully, Isak is available for this one. However, we don't have Gordon. We don't have Halsey, unfortunately. Halsey's out injured for the rest of the season now. Gordon is unfortunately suspended because of that stupid incident with Van Heck for Brighton in the FA Cup game. So that means Gordon won't be available. But we do still have Harvey Barnes. And you don't know quite what, you know, Eddie will come up with for that left side of midfield as well. Thankfully, however, Liverpool do have a bit of a problem themselves in that department. So we're going to head over now and see what Connor thinks going into the League Cup final, of course, from the Cop Council, and let us know what you think down in the comments below.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Carl, for asking me to come on once again and preview, of course, Liverpool against Newcastle. It is the massive Carabao Cup final. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Of course, another trip to Anfield South. Again, every single trip is a fantastic trip. But of course, it's going to be a very difficult game on Sunday again against Newcastle United, who, you know, let's be honest, have been a very, very tough opponent in the Premier League this season, I should say, not the Champions League. But speaking of the Champions League, of course, for us, for Liverpool, of course, we'll want to bounce back from midweek, of course, you know, fight back from getting knocked out of the Champions League, which, of course, for us was a huge disappointment. I think everyone has that kind of kind of that swagger where, again, we kind of come back, we're going to, fight back against what was a very disappointing result. But of course, that's no means easy. And I think, again, on Sunday, I think Liverpool will of course massively respect Newcastle, because again, look at you guys have been up there in terms of the Premier League, and I think in terms of, again, cup competitions, 2 League Cup finals in 3 years, I think is very, very good going, as well. And of course, I know all the Geordies will definitely be up for the game. Same for us. I think everybody kind of jokes around when it comes to the League Cup, and kind of has that opinion of, oh, it's just the League Cup. But I think if you're going for, certainly for us, going for a Premier League title, and I think adding a Carabao Cup is essential in a season, when you are fighting at the top, especially, us being the holders last season. It was very much the case of, us fighting Chelsea pretty much with the kids, in many ways, but obviously trying to keep hold of that, of the Carabao Cup, certainly in Arne Slot's first season, I think would be a tremendous achievement. I really do. I think, again, winning a Premier League title, winning a Carabao Cup final, obviously against very tough opposition, would be a very good benchmark, I think, of course, for Arne Slot's first season. Retaining the Carabao Cup final, but for me, I think to go on and, if we were to win on Sunday, of course, and that is a big if, but look, I'm feeling confident going into the game despite, what happened in midweek, and of course I think obviously every Newcastle fan will be as well. But I think for us, obviously the main talking point will be the forward line, of course, with Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, Diogo Jota, who will start in the number 9 position. Of course, that has been a big talking point, I think, for every Red out there over the last couple of days of, who will be starting up top. I think it's a very interesting question. Of course, obviously, we definitely know Liverpool are going to be looking for a number 9 in the summer, but I do think it will be Luis Diaz, only if Cody Gakpo is 100% fit. Of course, he did come on against PSG in the Champions League, but everybody could tell he was not fit. He was not ready for that game. But again, I'd most likely think that it might be Luis Diaz on the left and Darwin Núñez up top, for us, of course. And obviously the other big injury news for Liverpool is the fact that Trent Alexander-Arnold will not be there either, for Liverpool, which is a crying shame. But again, hopefully, look, for on our sake, again, going on to hopefully win an 11th League Cup final, that would be really, really good going. And I do hope that will be the case for us, of course. But on the other hand, speaking a bit on Newcastle, I think, look, like I said, Newcastle have done really, really well. Again, getting not to back, but again, 2 out of the 3 League Cup finals, I think, is very much impressive. Of course, obviously the danger man, obviously, is Alexander Isak. Of course, obviously the one, I think, shame for you guys especially is, of course, no Anthony Gordon, which again is a good thing for us realistically. But of course, that midfield of Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali and Joe Linton, of course, it is a workhorse midfield, and I think that is really your build up. I really do think that is your commanding position in terms of what to look out for and the danger to look out for, in terms of, again, Newcastle's threat against Liverpool. But again, just a couple of weeks ago, from the Anfield game, I think maybe if Isak was in that game, I think Newcastle do potentially score a goal. But I think, looking at Liverpool's perspective, obviously I'm going to be biased. I'm going to sit around and say Liverpool win. I think it will be close, though. I do think it will be very, very close. I think it's going to be a 2-1 game. Of course, we know that the Scousers, Geordies, everyone's going to be involved in voicing their opinion at Wembley. And look, it's going to be one hell of an atmosphere come Sunday night anyway. But again, thanks very much, Carl, for having me on. Very much do appreciate it. If anybody wants to come over, check us out on the Cop Council, you can do as well. Just the Cop Council on X, and of course on YouTube as well. So yeah, thank you very much, Carl, for having me on. And yeah, until next time, that's going to be it from me. I've been Connor from the Cop Council. I'll see you guys later on. Ta-ra.
So thanks to Connor there for coming on the channel and letting us know his thoughts going into this League Cup final. It's been a pleasure having him come on the channel once again, like he did the last time, to give his thoughts going into the game against them at Anfield. This time, of course, it is for the League Cup final, and it's quite interesting to see, of course, his thoughts going into the game, and hopefully, we can have a really good, entertaining game. And I've got to say, I'm really, really looking forward to it. Confidence is low with Liverpool right now. Their confidence is down. And we've got to continue that. We've got to, take that and beat them some more into the ground. Whilst their confidence is low, let's get in there. Let's get the result. And let's come away from Wembley with that trophy in hand. Of course, other than the team news for Newcastle going into the game of no Anthony Gordon, no Halsey, there's no Botman neither, but we do have a pretty strong squad to pick from, barring that. We do have a pretty good selection of players there to pick from, and I'm sure Eddie will pick the best possible lineup he can out of the team that is available at his disposal. We do have, of course, the news of today, that Dan Burn, of course, has been called up to the England squad for the very first time. So that's going to be a boost of confidence for Big Dan heading into this final. And who knows, maybe we'll see Big Dan jump up last minute of the game, head in the goal, and, Newcastle win 1-0. What a story that would be, local lad working his way up from the lowest you can possibly go in football, and now getting his first call up for England, and then, scoring at Wembley on Sunday, dying minutes of the game to get Newcastle with first trophy, since the 1969 Intercities Fairs Cup, and with first domestic trophy since the 54-55 FA Cup. So it would be absolutely fantasy, it was be a fairy tale, Roy of the Rovers storyline, that if Big Dan was the person to score the goal for Newcastle to win the trophy. I'd just take Newcastle winning 1-0 in this game. Nothing crazy scorelines. If we do get crazy scorelines, great, because then that's more entertaining, for the neutrals, more entertaining for everybody that's, watching the game as well. But I'll just happily take a 1-0 win. Just get that trophy, because that is all we need, just that one trophy, and it will open the floodgates. The only annoying thing that I've got to say going into this game is the officials. I'm not a fan of the officials for this game. How anybody thought it was the right idea to pick John Brooks, a Scouser, as the official for this game, and a known Liverpool fan as well, as the referee for this game, is absolutely ludicrous. To think that they have done that. This is the third game that he has refed this season as well. His previous games refereeing with this season was a 1-0 win over Arsenal and a 2-0 win over Arsenal in a semi-final. Of course, the semi-final to get to this final against Liverpool. And Liverpool fans probably won't be too happy at him neither, because the last time he officiated a Newcastle versus Liverpool game, Liverpool did win the game back in August of 2023, but Van Dijk did get sent off, and quite a lot of Liverpool fans were saying that, it wasn't a sending off in their eyes. In my eyes, obviously, it is biased because I am a Newcastle fan, but I thought it was a justified red at the end of the day. I really did. And then on VAR, we've got Stuart Atwell, who also comes from the northwest area as well. So it's not looking good for the official side of things. So hopefully they don't have to be involved in the game too much. They don't get themselves involved in the game too much, hopefully. And we can get, a pretty entertaining game. But like I say, I'll happily take Newcastle coming away from this game 1-0 winner late on in the game. Big Dan Burn, or even, somebody like Joe Linton, Bruno, what have you. Anybody just in a black and white shirt, just bang that ball into the back of the net. Get Newcastle that 1-0 win, and let's come away from Wembley with black and white ribbons on that Carabao Cup trophy. Until next time, of course, make sure to hit like, share, subscribe. And also thanks to Connor as well for coming onto the channel and giving his thoughts, of course, going into the game. And let us know what you think, of course, about Connor's thoughts as well down in the comments below. Till next time, see you all later. Remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and how are the lads.